Welcome back. This video covers CUSD's Data Analysis Protocol, a document that you can find on the Department of Research and Assessment's webpage under Research Information. So now that you have access to all of this great data, you may be thinking, what do I do with it? Well, let's go back to a few of our goals: creating meaningful and innovative learning experiences, providing opportunities and spaces for staff to be involved in decision making, and cultivating a data-informed decision-making culture. What do we mean when we say cultivate a data-informed decision-making culture? We mean that we want to create a norm around the inclusion of data in your decision-making process. Data is a powerful tool in your evidence wheelhouse because it allows you to zoom out and condense large amounts of information to identify patterns and draw comparisons, or zoom in to see specific areas where a student may need individualized support. In either case, you will need to undergo a process called data analysis to make sense of your data and build more powerful findings. We have created a data analysis protocol document located on the Department of Research and Assessment's webpage under Research Information to guide you through this process. When you first enter into Tableau, you will want to go in with a purpose. Ask yourself, what am I trying to learn? What decisions am I trying to make using this data? Recalling Strategic Plan Objective 3.3, we want to use data for decision making. We can use this data to make decisions at the class level or at the individual level. Let's see how the data analysis protocol can be used in both types of decisions. Let's think about a decision that Severus Snape from our previous videos is considering. Professor Snape previously felt like too many students were missing from his first period potions class. This quarter, Snape decided to make class participation part of the overall student grade to motivate students to come to class. Snape is considering whether to keep participation points part of the overall grade for next year. This is Snape's purpose and the first step of the data analysis protocol. Snape also remembers that teachers were recently given access to Tableau, which assists in the second step of the data analysis protocol, collecting and organizing data. Based on some very handy YouTube videos that he watched, Snape knows that Tableau provides helpful visualizations on attendance data, so he goes into his teacher dashboard to see if he can get more information about how his participation policy is working. Snape looks at the next steps of the data analysis protocol. Describe the data. In the attendance overview, Snape looks at the attendance distribution and sees that 58.6% of students in his course section have attendance of moderate or extreme SSI levels. He uses a I notice statement and says, I notice that more of my students have moderate or extreme attendance SSI than minimal or exemplary SSI. Now, if Snape were to stop here, he might take this data to mean that his participation policy wasn't working. But Snape knows that good data analysis requires frequently reviewing data, using quality data, and triangulating data. Data triangulation requires using multiple data sources to determine patterns or inconsistencies, which help the data user to better understand each student and their needs. Before moving on to interpreting his data, Snape decides to look at the absence rate and tardies per student. He notices that in the last 20 days, his students are absent fewer days than both the school and district averages for students taking potions. However, when he looks at the tardies per student, he sees that students in his course section have accrued more tardies than both the school and district averages for potions. Having described his data, he moves on to interpreting his data, looking for patterns and trends to address the purpose. Remember, Snape is wondering whether or not he should keep his participation policy. As we learned in previous videos, Snape is going to use school and district comparisons to make his data meaningful. At first, when Snape was describing his data, he was discouraged by the fact that his SSI attendance distribution featured more moderate and extreme SSI cases than the district average for potions. However, Snape has only started his new policy this quarter. When he looks at his absence rate from the last 20 days, he sees that his students have actually been absent less than both the school and district averages. However, when he looks at the tardies per student, he sees that students in his course section have accrued more tardies than both the school and district averages for potions. After looking at patterns and trends in the data, Snape begins to reflect on his participation policy decision. Snape examined 3 quantitative measures of attendance: SSI level, absence rate, and tardies. However, he puts these points in context with other pieces of evidence as part of good data triangulation practices. For example, 2 of Snape's quieter students who have extreme SSI attendance levels recently came up to him after class. They told him that they really appreciated him giving them gentle nudges to participate in potions to get their participation points. It made them feel like their opinions on potions really mattered, and they felt excited to come to class. When Snape went to the attendance student list, it showed that their last 20-day absence rate was down. The student testimony and last 20-day absence rate encourages Snape to keep his participation policy in place for the coming school year. While Snape reflected on his data, he remembered to ask, "What do I still need to know?" The better than average absence rate from the last 20 days, but worse than average tardy rate makes him wonder, why are more of my students tardy than in other potions classes at our school and district? Are tardies a problem because many students have a few tardies, or because a few students have many tardies? How much of the tardiness rate for first period potions is in my control? Are there any other data points that I can use to frame my reference? During the reflection period, it's important to not get tunnel vision into what you think might be the source of the problem or the solution. For example, Snape might hypothesize that his tardy rate for potions is worse because he teaches during first period, and some students are running late. This problem prescription might cause Snape to dismiss potentially helpful tardiness solutions because he thinks that this problem is out of his control. However, Snape instead wonders whether there is anything within his control that he can do to support his students getting to school on time.
The final 2 steps in the data analysis protocol, develop a plan and change, and monitor and adjust, support Snape in Goal 1.1c of the strategic plan, develop dynamic and iterative data processes. Snape develops a plan to look at the attendance student list to identify any specific students who may have a significant number of tardies. For any with a particularly high tardy rate, he plans to check in with those students and their social workers to see if they need any help getting to school on time. After learning more about the problem, Snape will check on whether his individualized approach is working or if he should implement a plan at the class level. Snape is going to monitor tardiness rates using the attendance student list and the attendance overview pages on Tableau to see if his approach is working. Remember that even if you do see better results than your school and district averages, that does not mean that there is not still room to improve. Even if he begins to see results on his tardiness plan, he should continue to use data to refine and adapt his plan to new student needs. Snape's continuous cycle of data examination and process modification supports his goal of generating meaningful and innovative learning experiences for students. Like Snape did, you can use the CUSD Data Analysis Protocol document to guide you through understanding your data, making data-informed decisions, and developing strategies that foster continuous growth for our students, all components of our goals in CUSD's Journey to Excellence. Use the Data Analysis Protocol document to support with developing dynamic and iterative data processes as part of Goal 1.1, developing meaningful and innovative learning experiences. Also, use this data to support making data a part of your decision-making process as part of Goals 3, Innovative Organizations, and 4, culture in our journey to excellence. These dashboards and presentations are made for you, and this is just the beginning. If you have any feedback or questions about this training or the data analysis protocol, please email research@cusd80.com.